Welcome to the 77th Lutheran Basketball Association of America's Tournament of Champions Bracket Reveal Show.
We're going to start with the girls' bracket. As you can see, there are a few holes in the first round. There actually aren't, but some teams will be getting byes because we have only 25 girls teams this year. So buckle up, and here we go.
Our first team will have a bye first round, and that will be the St. Marcus Lutheran Mustangs from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. The Mustangs have their first ever undefeated season at 22-0. They were back-to-back state tournament appearances and their first ever state champions. They're 54-4 in the last 3 seasons, and they're first place in all 3 tournaments this season, and first place in their conference.
These girls scored 96 points in a single game this season. That's an incredible feat. They're all great student athletes on and off the court, and they're also smart and high-character girls. That's what the coach says anyway. I believe him.
Next team is Concordia Lutheran, the Cardinals from San Antonio, Texas. Cardinals, 21-4, 19-2 when they have their full roster. They were the SHLS Ram Invitational Tournament champions, the Alamo City Invitational Tournament champions, and the Texas Lutheran Regional Tournament runner-up.
These girls have been playing together for Coach Proctor for 3 years now. They competed in the LBAA National Tournament last year as 7th graders. And their theme for the year, from Philippians 2, loving one another and working together with one mind and purpose.
Their first round opponent will be Christ Lutheran, the Griffins from Overland Park, Kansas. The Griffins have an overall record of 17-3, and if you're not familiar with a Griffin, it is a mythological character from Greek mythology, part of the classical education at Christ Lutheran. And this is their second year in a row that this team has attended the LBAA National Tournament. Moving right along, we've got St. Paul Lutheran, the Crusaders from Napoleon, Ohio. Crusaders tournament wins have been the NWOL Conference Champions, the NWOL Tournament Champions, and the All-Ohio Lutheran State Champions.
These girls are 18-4. They tend to dominate on the court. They have excellent depth and balance. They can win in different ways depending on the matchups, and their defensive schemes, they're able to adjust. They should be a lot of fun to watch. They play as a family and rely on each other. They have perfect trust and teamwork. So we're looking for great things from the Napoleon Crusaders.
Their first round opponent will be Trinity Lutheran, the Tigers from Davenport, Iowa. Tigers placed second in the Freeport, Illinois tournament, second place in the Diocese tournament. I apologize if I pronounced that wrong. Diocese, and third place at the Midwinter tournament in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. This next team will have a bye, and it will be Grace Lutheran, the Raiders from Menominee Falls, Wisconsin. The Lady Raiders have an overall record of 32-2, and they were undefeated in the regular season, going 30-0. They were the champions of the Lakeshore Lutheran Conference and champions of 6 tournaments: the Grace Classic, the Valley Classic, the Living Word Lutheran High School Tournament, and the First Emmanuel Cedarburg Holiday Classic, the Peace Hartford Invitational, and the Divine Redeemer Tournament.
They were 4th at the Wisconsin State Tournament this year. They lost 2 games by a combined total of 3 points. This will be their 4th year in a row playing at the LBAA Nationals.
Moving on to the boys' side of the bracket. First team will be St. John's Lutheran Crusaders from Wauwatosa, Wisconsin. The Crusaders have an overall record of 29-0. They were the 2025 LSA State Tournament champions, the LAA Division I Conference and Tournament champions, the Hales Corners Lutheran Tournament champions, the St. Marcus Holiday Tip-Off champions, and the Star of Bethlehem Tip-Off Tournament champions.
They have 4 players that average more than 6 points each per game, and 2 players combined for a total of 43 blocks. They have 3 starters returning from last year's Nationals runner-up team, and they're also back-to-back LSA state champs in 24 and 25.
Their first round opponent will be the Emmanuel Lutheran Eagles from Wentzville, Missouri. The Eagles have an overall record of 18-10. This is their second Nationals appearance, and they were first in the ILSW tip-off, fourth in the Holiday Classic tournament, and the consolation champions in Big Cat and Eagles Invitational fifth. They were the SLALL City Playoffs and the LSAM State Consolation champs.
Look pretty sinister in black and white. I like that picture.
We've got Trinity Lutheran Tigers from Delray Beach, Florida. Overall record of 19-4. The Delray Boynton Parochial League champs, the second place in the Trinity Invitational Tournament. Florida State Tournament runner-up and first appearance in LBAA. Their first round opponent will be the Salem Lutheran Saints from Tomball, Texas. The Saints' overall record is 30-3. They averaged 55 points per game during league play, and they were the St. Mark Lutheran Cougar Classic champions, the Trinity Klein Invitational champions, the Alamo City Invitational runner-up, and the Texas Lutheran Regional Tournament runner-up.
They won their league's regular season championship with a 13-1 record, but were ineligible for the league tournament because this is their first year in the league. Salem Tomball is also the oldest continuously running parochial school in the state of Texas.
Trinity Lutheran Trojans from Cedar Rapids, Iowa. The Trojans' overall record is 22-4. They were the Colonel Invitational champions, the Midwinter Tournament champions, the Tri-State Tournament champions, and the Iowa District East champions.
This school was founded in 1884. A couple of interesting points. They start a 5'1" sixth grader that they call Biggie. I like that. And they also have a 6'4" seventh grader. They have 8 kids that played at the national tournament last year. And we need to give a shout out to Mark Miller, who coached Trinity to nationals 28 times in his coaching tenure. Thank you, Coach, for showing us all how it's done.
Their first round opponent is King of Grace Knights from Golden Valley, Minnesota. The Knights have an overall record of 28-3. They were the state runner-up, lost by a point. They were first place in league champions, first place Bethany Lutheran Invitational, and first place in the February Freeze Invitational. Moving along, we've got the Emmanuel St. Michael Eagles from Fort Wayne, Indiana. The Eagles have an overall record of 37-5. They were the Lehigh Tournament champions and the ILSAA champions. Their first round opponent is Trinity Lutheran Panthers from Fremont, Nebraska. Is it Fremont or Fremont?
Fremont.
Fremont, Nebraska. Overall record of 7-6, finished 4th at the C Club tournament, and this is the Panthers' first trip to the LBAA national tournament.
This is a tough team that plays very hard on defense, and they like to get to the rim. It's a good group of boys that are led by 8th graders that genuinely care about each other off and on the court, and they've been playing very well together for the last few years.
Back to the girls' side of the bracket. We've got the St. John's Crusaders from Wauwatosa, Wisconsin. The Crusaders have an overall record of 21-10. They were the CLCA tournament second place finishers, the East Side Madison tournament champions, the Star of Bethlehem tip-off tournament second place, and the Hales Corners Lutheran tournament second place. And this is their second trip to the LBAA national tournament.
The Lady Crusaders played 7 of the 15 other teams that made the Wisconsin State Tournament, and they beat 6 of them in the regular season. They did take the eventual Wisconsin State champion St. Marcus right down to the wire in their conference championship game.
Their first round opponent will be Emmanuel Silo, the Crusaders from Lewistown, Minnesota. The overall record of 29-2, the only losses were from larger public schools in the tri-state tournaments. They're the back-to-back Minnesota State champions. Coach Sandcork has well over 25 years of coaching experience.
Thankful they are for the large group of 8th graders on that team. And even though he's got 25 years of experience, Coach Sandcork is still young. And he's a dedicated educator serving as principal at Hope Lutheran High School in Winona, Minnesota.
This next team will have a bye, and it will be the St. Peter's Lions from Columbus, Indiana. The Lions have an overall record of 31-3, and they were undefeated by Lutheran opponents. 2025 Indiana State champions, 4-peat Indiana State champions, I might add, and the 2025 Lutheran Invitational Tournament champions, along with the Lutheran High Tournament champions. We've got Riverview Roadrunners from Appleton, Wisconsin. The Roadrunners have an overall record of 18-1. They were the Fox Valley WELS Athletic League champs and the tournament champs. And they were the Lutheran Sports Association of Wisconsin tournament champions. They took second place. Their first round opponent will be the Trinity Trojans from Cedar Rapids, Iowa. Trojans have a record of 23-3. They were second place at the Trinity Cedar Rapids, Iowa Midwinter Tournament, the Consolation Champions at Trinity Springfield, Illinois Tournament, and first place at the Emmanuel Freeport, Illinois Tri-State Tournament, second place at the Iowa District East Conference Tournament.
They were undefeated in the regular season conference with a 10-0 record. They had 2 separate 9-game winning streaks during their entire season, and this is the 3rd straight tournament appearance for the girls' team.
Next, we've got the Trinity Klein Eagles from Spring, Texas. The Eagles have an overall record of 32-6. This is the first in Texas State Tournament. They were first in the Trinity Klein Invitational Tournament, third in the Concordia San Antonio Tournament, and this is the Eagles' 22nd appearance at LBAA National Tournament. Luther Memorial Lancers from Cleveland, Ohio. The Lancers have an overall record of 17-2. Average margin of victory in league play was 21 points, and the Cleveland Lutheran Elementary League champions, third in the All-Ohio State Basketball Tournament, and undefeated champions of the midseason and year-end tournaments.
This is only the 4th year of girls basketball, the 3rd in the middle school. They were 3rd in the middle school Cleveland Lutheran Elementary League. So these ladies are playing some good ball.
We're on to the boys' side of the bracket again. We've got the Emmanuel Bobcats from Palatine, Illinois. Bobcats have an overall record of 30-4. They were the Illinois State champions, the Christ Peoria Invitational champions, and the Emmanuel's boys have been to nationals 18 times. All 3 coaches have played at the LBAA National Championship for Emmanuel Palatine, all under Coach John Ulrich Sr.
So head coach Johnny Ulrich Jr. took over coaching for his father, legendary Illinois Basketball Hall of Fame coach John Ulrich Sr., 3 seasons ago. Sr. has led Emmanuel teams to the LBAA Nationals 25 times, 8 times for the girls and 17 times for the boys. Seniors teams won the LBAA National Tournament in 1994, where daughter Maggie was tournament MVP as a 7th grader. He won in 1998, where daughter Cookie was an all-tournament member, and in 2002 with his son Johnny Ulrich. Their
first round opponent will be the St. Paul Tigers from Westlake, Ohio. The Tigers have an overall record of 17-7. They were the runner-up in the All-Ohio State Tournament. Cleveland Lutheran Elementary League Tournament champions, and St. Paul boys are making their 12th national tournament appearance. Next up, we've got Lutheran North Crusaders from St. Louis, Missouri. They're first place city playoff champions and second place LSAM state champions. Their first round opponent will be Bethany Eagles from Overland Park, Kansas. The Eagles were undefeated in league play. They were the league tournament champions, and they were Trinity's midwinter tournament runner-up. They were the C Club tournament at Concordia, Nebraska runner-up, and the Milt Brugman Hope Classic Invitational Tournament champions. Moving right along, we've got St. John's Mustangs from Orange, California. The Mustangs' overall record of 17-4. They were first place in the league, first place in the inaugural state tournament. The team defense allowed an average of 28.5 points per game, and this team only allowed 3 points or less in 15 quarters. California Lutheran Schools State Tournament champions. Their first round opponent will be Trinity Cardinals from Janesville, Minnesota. The Cardinals have an overall record of 26-2. They were first place at Zion Alexandria Tournament, second place at our Trinity Janesville Tournament, first at the Risen Savior Tournament, first place at the Rochester Lutheran Tournament, and third place at the Minnesota State Lutheran Tournament. First appearance at Nationals since 1995.
The average score for this team was 49-27. Cardinals have played two players that average around 10 points per game, and one, Oliver Dimmel, averages over 18 points per game. Oliver also hit a major milestone. He scored his 1,000th point in their final third-place game at the state tournament. The Cardinals lost their starting center, Aiden Andreen, about halfway through the season with a leg injury, but good news, he will be back to join them for the LBAA National Tournament.
We've got Divine Redeemer, the Eagles from Heartland, Wisconsin. The Eagles have an overall record of 22-7. They were the St. Marcus Milwaukee runner-up, the Hales Corners Consolation champions. The Divine Redeemer, they took third. St. Paul Grafton champions in the LSA Wisconsin State Tournament, they took third place.
The Eagles are excited to make the trip down for the tournament. This is something the boys have talked about since many of them started playing together back in 5th grade. This also marks the first time Divine Redeemer is returning to the tournament since they won the championship in 2018.
Their first round opponent will be St. Peter Patriots from Macomb, Michigan. The Patriots have an overall record of 21-0. They were the St. Lorenz first place. They took first at the Lutheran High North. They took first at the Lutheran High Northwest. And they were the Michigan Lutheran Basketball Association state champions.
They broke the Michigan Lutheran Basketball State Tournament record for most rebounds in a single game with 54, and the most rebounds in a tournament with 149. They've held opposing teams to under 25% field goal shooting percentage in the state tournament.
Back to the girls' side of the bracket, we've got Emmanuel Eagles from Wentzville, Missouri. They will have a bye, and the Eagles were 17-2. They were the 2025 city champs and the 2025 state champs. We've got Hales Corners Wildcats from Hales Corners, Wisconsin. The Wildcats' overall record of 23-8. They were the St. Paul's West Allis Tournament first place. They took second in the Route 31 Dundee Tournament. They took second in the Hales Corners Lutheran Wildcat Tournament, and they took third in the Grace Menominee Falls Tournament, and they took first in the one-day shoot out Waukegan. Their first round opponent will be St. John's Hawks from Battle Creek, Nebraska. Overall record of 23-3. They took second in the Chad Chapman Tournament, first place in the 2025 Roundball Tournament, first place in the Zion Lutheran Pierce Tournament, first place in the Christ Lutheran Tournament, and they were the 2025 C Club Concordia University state runners-up into A Division.
These Lady Hawks are one of the most talented teams our school's ever had. Quotes from the coach. They're only the second team for Battle Creek to make the national tournament. St. John's is quite proud of them. Quoting the coach now, this team is one of the smartest, hard-working teams I've ever been a part of. Their drive, passion, and love for the game made coaching them a joy. They're a great group of girls to coach, and I know they will go on to do great things both in sports and life. And the best part, he says, lastly, I know that they will continue to witness for Christ in all that they do. And that's a pretty sweet picture, I gotta say.
It is a sweet picture. This next team will have a bye. It'll be Cross Crusaders from Yorkville, Illinois. The Crusaders have an overall record of 24-3. They were the fourth place in the Route 31 tournament. They took first in the Marengo tournament, first in the Peoria tournament, first in the Arlington Heights tournament, and second at the ILSAA state tournament.
Last year they were third at the state, and this is their second season in a row to qualify for and attend the national tournament. 2005 being the last time that the girls made an appearance at nationals.
Our next team, the Trinity Trojans from Sheboygan, Wisconsin. They have an overall record of 20-4. They were the St. Paul Grafton Tournament. They took first. Ottsburg Christian Tournament, they took second. Bethlehem Lutheran Tournament, they took first. And the LSAA Wisconsin State Tournament, they were fifth.
Their average margin of victory is 25 points, and they have 5 players who've scored more than 120 points for the season. That means the team's extremely well balanced. The season high for points scored is 60, and they've held opponents to 20 points or less in half of their games. They also average 14 steals a game, so those are going to be some fun games to watch.
Their first round opponent will be St. Luke's, the Wildcats from Oviedo, Florida. The Wildcats' overall record is 23-0. They were the Florida Lutheran Athletic Association state champs. They were the 4th year in a row Florida state champs. 4th year in a row the Lady Wildcats are attending the national tournament.
This is actually their 10th total appearance at the LBAA National Tournament, and the team is smart as well as talented on the court. They have an overall GPA of 3.8.
Back to the boys' side of the bracket. We've got Emmanuel Warriors from Seymour, Indiana. The Warriors have an overall record of 28-3. Their tournament record was 16-1. 5 tournament wins, including the ILSAA state champs. 20 wins in a row dating back to December, allowing 24.7 points per game and holding 26 teams less than 30. Their first round opponent will be St. John's Jaguars from Marysville, Ohio. Jaguars are overall record of 17-7, 3rd place finish in the All-Ohio State Tournament, runners-up Central Ohio Athletic League Tournament, 4th place finish in the John Weber preseason tournament, and this is their 2nd ever LBAA National Tournament appearance. Our next team is St. John's Royals from Chaska, Minnesota. Royals have an overall record of 23-0. They were the MLAA Conference champions, the Minnesota State champions, and this is the boys' 12th trip to nationals. They were the LBAA National champions in 2011, and they have won the Minnesota State Tournament 3 of the last 4 years.
fun fact is they're returning every single starter from last year's team that attended the national tournament. And so they should be able to start from a place where they know what's going on. They won't be overwhelmed by the scope of everything.
Their first round opponent will be Trinity Klein Eagles from Spring, Texas. The Eagles have an overall record of 22-10. They were second in the Trinity Klein Invitational Tournament, third place at the Concordia San Antonio Tournament, third place in the Texas State Tournament, and this is their 24th appearance in the LBAA National Tournament. We've got St. Marcus Mustangs from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. The Mustangs, overall record of 28-5. They finished second in the state. Avenged last year's loss at Nationals against Christ Peoria, defending national champion earlier this year. Armani Watson had his first dunk, not his first dunk, but the first dunk in school history this year.
Wow. These guys also give back to the community. They helped an elderly church member move to a new house earlier this year. So it's good to serve your Lord in many ways.
Their first round opponent will be the CCLS Chargers from Kirkwood, Missouri. Chargers have an overall record of 18-15. They were the Route 31 Crystal Lake, Illinois tournament. They took second. They were the Zion Big Cat Classic. They took second. St. Louis Lutheran Athletic League, they took third. And the LSAM State Tournament, they took third place. Moving right along, we've got the St. John Eagles from Napa, California. Eagles have an overall record of 17-1. They were back-to-back North Bay League champions, 7th grade last year and 8th grade this year. They were the Hotch Invitational Tournament champions and the St. A's March Madness Tournament champions. This is the Eagles' first appearance at the LBAA National Tournament. Their first round opponent will be Central Cougars from Newhall, Iowa. The Cougars have an overall record of 20-7, third place at the Tri-State Tournament in Freeport, Illinois, second place in the Iowa State Tournament. We're going to finish up the girls' bracket here. The next team has a bye, which is the Emmanuel Bobcats from Palatine, Illinois. Bobcats have an overall record of 27-6. They were the champions of the Bill Rath Tony Laval Memorial Tournament, the champions of the Geneva High School Feeder Tournament, champions of the Hales Corners Tournament, and champions of the LSA Illinois State Tournament.
After the losses of those cherished coaches, Bill Rathy and Tony Lavalli, as well as the loss of another longtime beloved Emmanuel member and employee, Violet Schroeder, the related contributions and fundraisers through the Emmanuel Lutheran Education Foundation resulted in a complete renovation of the gym. Seen in Team Photo 2, as there's a dedication on the floor to all those who have come before us. The team is grateful to all the players, parents, families, alumni, teachers, staff, coaches, and more that have come before them, and to all those that will follow. And two of Bill Rathy's granddaughters, Taylor Moser and Claire Moser, are on this year's team.
We've got St. Paul Lutheran from Grafton, Wisconsin next. The Panthers' overall record is 19-7. They finished third at the state tournament. They finished second place in the last two tournaments, and this is their team's 13th appearance in the national tournament.
Apparently they got better this season, their head coach tells me, because their principal started giving them some pointers and tips that really propelled them along on their way. So principals are not just another pretty face. They know some stuff.
Their first round opponent will be Emmanuel Chargers from Macomb, Michigan. The Chargers have an overall record of 20-4. 20-4 is a school record of wins in a season for them. They played in 4 tournaments and placed in all 4 of them. They took third twice, first, and then they were the winner of the MLBA state tournament. This was also the first state title for their school in basketball.
One of their strengths is their team defense. They allow only 18.7 points per game.
This next team will have a bye, and it will be the CCLS Chargers from Kirkwood, Missouri. Chargers have an overall record of 23-2. The Trinity Edwardsville, Illinois tournament they took first. The Route 31 Crystal Lake, Illinois tournament they took first. And the Zion Big Cat Classic they took first place. And the St. Louis Lutheran Athletic League they took second. And the LSAM State Tournament they took second as well. Next team is St. Michael Eagles from Fort Wayne, Indiana. Eagles have an overall record of 26-7. Their conference record was 8-0, and they were third at the Indianapolis Lutheran High School tournament, third at the Central Lutheran tournament, second at the St. Francis University tournament, second in city, second in LIT, and third in the state.
This is a very experienced and very 8th grade heavy team. They have tall and athletic guards, multiple ball handlers, and they're very close-knit. They also, on offense, they average 32 points a game while giving up only 21 points a game. And their 7 losses come by only 3 schools, 3 different teams. 2 teams twice, and 1 team they lost to 3 times.
Their first round opponent will be the St. Paul Panthers from West Allis, Wisconsin. The Panthers have an overall record of 19-6, and they were the Wisconsin State Tournament consolation runner-up, the MLESAA Division champions, and they took first in the St. John's West Bend tournament, second place in the St. Paul's West Allis Holiday Classic, second place in the St. Paul's Economo Walk tournament, and second place in the Grace Raider Classic.
All 3 of the coaches are alumni of St. Paul's. Coach Jackson played in the national tournament in 1997 and 1998. Coach Wolf played in the tournament in 2014. They have an emphasis on student athletes and also academics. The cumulative GPA of the team is an average of 3.5, and 4 players are a member of Lutheran Junior Honor Association. Good work, ladies.
Now we're back to finish off the boys' side of the bracket. We've got the St. Paul Falcons from Boca Raton, Florida. The Falcons have an overall record of 19-1. They were the Florida Lutheran Athletic Association state champs, the Trinity Lutheran Boys Basketball Tournament champs, and the Falcons averaged 48 points per game while holding their opponents to 22 points per game.
They want you to know that they are privileged to call Boca Raton, Florida, their home, where the beaches are close by and the sun is bright 12 months out of the year. Thanks for rubbing it in, boys.
Their first round opponent will be Redeemer from Wayzata, Minnesota. Wayzata, Minnesota. The Royals' overall record is 8-5. They were 4th place in the 2025 Minnesota State Tournament, and they were the 2000 LBAA National Champs. First appearance at the LBAA National Tournament in 15 years. Moving along, we've got the Bethany Trojans from Parma, Ohio. The Trojans have an overall record of 24-3. League record is 10-0, and they were the All-Ohio State Tournament champions. They were also the Bethany preseason tournament champions.
Coach says this year's team started off as a group of teammates and has gelled into a family. These guys all put the team above any individual accolades. That's probably why they're successful. Their
first round opponent will be Rockford Crusaders from Rockford, Illinois. Crusaders have an overall record of 48-6, and that is a combined total of wins from the 7th and 8th grade. Undefeated in the regular season in their conference in 8th grade and have not lost a home game in 2 years. They won the Rockford Lutheran Black Friday tournament and 3rd place in the LSA tournament in Illinois.
Rockford Lutheran School is a pre-K through 12th grade school, so this team will get to play together in high school as well.
Next, we've got Emmanuel Eagles from St. Charles, Missouri. Eagles have an overall record of 30-1. They were the Missouri state champions. They took 2nd in the St. Louis Lutheran Athletic League playoffs, 1st in the Emmanuel Washington tournament, 1st in the Trinity Jefferson City tournament, 1st in the Emmanuel St. Charles Holiday Classic, and 1st in the CCLS Charger Midwest Classic. And they were also 1st in the Good Shepherd Collinsville tournament.
This is also their 3rd consecutive year for attending the LBAA National Tournament of Champions.
Their first round opponent will be St. Paul's Panthers from Orange, California. The Panthers have an overall record of 20-5. They have 20 wins, 5 losses. Zion Invitational Tournament champions. They were the California Lutheran School State Tournament runner-up, and they had a 10-game win streak to start the season. Next, we've got St. Peter's Lions from Columbus, Indiana. Lions have an overall record of 26-7. They have 4 losses to the state champions of Wisconsin, Illinois, and Indiana twice.
They're playing their best basketball right now, and they're only getting better. As 7th graders, the majority of this team was asked to play up because of a small 8th grade class at the time. They've really grown as players and as a team and are looking forward to a chance to represent Indiana Lutheran schools. Their coach truly believes they're going to make some noise at nationals.
Their first round opponent will be the Trinity Tigers from Grand Island, Nebraska. The Tigers have an overall record of 13-0. They were the Nebraska All-Lutheran Roundball Tournament champs, the Concordia Sea Club Tournament champs, and it is the school's first time winning these tournaments in 41 years. This is also the Tigers' first LBAA National Tournament appearance.
They average on offense 48.2 points per game while giving up only 27.6. That is a recipe for success right there. And they have a balanced offensive attack led by leading scorer Maxwell Murdoch, 20.8 points per game.
That will conclude our broadcast of the Bracket Reveal Show of the 77th LBAA Tournament of Champions. If you're looking for the brackets, it will be posted on LBAA's website very shortly.